They're going to bury him alive. That is the first sentence I heard through the air vent above my hospital bed, and I'm telling you right now, nothing in my life has ever sounded colder than that. Let me ask you something before we even start. If you heard strangers in the middle of the night quietly planning to bury a living man, not kill him, bury him alive, would you stay quiet and mind your business? Or would you run, bleeding, shaking half-conscious, and try to stop it? Be honest, because I had about 3 seconds to decide. My name is Maya Williams. I'm 29 from Detroit, and I am nobody special. I'm not a cop, not a lawyer, definitely not rich. I'm just a freelance accountant who got an emergency appendectomy and woke up in the middle of the kind of conspiracy you only see on TV. You think I'm being dramatic? Keep listening. It's 2:38 a.m. I'm in room 614 at Mercy Valley Hospital. Lights half dim, machines doing that soft, steady beep, that sterile hospital smell in the air. I'm in a paper gown, stitches fresh across my stomach, still kind of high off anesthesia, walking slow laps in my room because I couldn't get comfortable in the bed. You know that weird, lonely hospital silence where it almost doesn't feel real, like time isn't moving. That silence ends with a voice coming from the air vent above me saying, calm as anything. 72 hours from now, we'll declare him brain dead, no autopsy, private burial. By then the board won't be able to stop the transfer. Harland Industries becomes yours. I froze so hard the plastic water cup in my hand just slipped and hit the tile water everywhere. My stitches pulling pain exploding across my stomach like someone lit a match inside me. At first I thought I was hallucinating. Like, okay, Maya, maybe the drugs are still in you. But then I hear another voice. This one sharper, nervous, whispering, shh, someone heard, go check the vent. And that's when I knew this was real, this was live, and I was not supposed to hear it. Let me paint it for you. It's almost 3 a.m. I'm alone. I'm barefoot on a cold hospital floor. I'm bleeding through my own bandages because I tore the incision when I jumped, and now I hear fast, heavy footsteps in the hallway outside my door. Not soft nurse shoes. Heavy. Purposeful. Security or worse. Somebody yells, "There she is!" And then a gunshot cracks down the hallway, inside the hospital, at me. You want to talk about fear? I'll tell you about fear. Fear is not screaming. Fear is not crying. Fear is that quiet, full-body instinct that grabs you by the spine and says, "We are leaving now." I don't care that you're bleeding. I don't care that you can't stand straight. We are leaving. My body just moved. I yanked my IV line out, grabbed my phone, held my stomach with my other hand to keep from ripping open more, and I ran. My feet were sliding on that polished floor. My hospital socks were soaked. I slammed the door open, sprinted past the nurse's station, while alarms started going off, because I'm pulling monitors out of the wall, and I hit the stairwell. I could hear them behind me yelling, "She's bleeding, just follow the trail." And I swear to you, my heart just about stopped, because that's when it hit me. To them, I'm not a patient, I'm cleanup. I'm a loose end. I went down 2 flights, legs shaking so bad I almost fell, vision going narrow at the edges, and instead of hitting the emergency exit, I slipped into the laundry room on the 2nd floor. I shut that door soft, not loud, and I slid down against a big industrial washer and tried to breathe. You ever try to breathe quiet while you're crying and trying not to pass out at the same time? It's not cute. Dryers humming. My own pulse in my ears. Hot blood under my palm. And that sentence still echoing in my head. No autopsy. Private burial. Board can't stop it. Let me pause and say this, because I know somebody's already thinking it. Why didn't you just call 911? Okay. Picture this, you're a 29-year-old black woman alone, half-drugged, bleeding, calling 911 from a hospital hallway at 3 in the morning and saying, "Hi, yes, hello. Some rich guy's family is planning to bury him alive to steal his company. And also men with guns are chasing me right now inside a hospital. Can you come get me?" Do you honestly think they would have believed me? Or do you think hospital security, which might already be in on it, would have gotten to me first? If it were you, what would you have done? So I did the only thing that made sense to me in that moment. I got out. When everything finally got quiet upstairs, I went back to my room. Hands still shaking so bad I could barely unlock my phone, shoved some tissues into my hoodie to soak up the bleeding. Grabbed my stuff and I walked out of that hospital before sunrise with no discharge papers, no clearance, nothing. I ordered a rideshare from the curb, and the driver, this middle-aged dude with tired eyes, looked at me in the mirror and asked, "You all right, miss?" And I said, "Yeah, long night." And he just nodded and drove. Bless that man for not asking questions. In the car, I did something I didn't even know was smart until later. I Googled the name I heard. Harland. Luke Harland. And yeah, I knew the name already, of course I did. Everybody knows that name. Billionaire tech founder, clean energy guy. Shows up in a blazer and jeans and talks about saving the world. Covers of magazines, awards donated to schools. But what I didn't know until I searched was that he personally funded after-school tech programs in Detroit, my city, my side of town, for kids who never get looked at twice by anybody. He didn't just send money, he showed up. There were pictures of him with these kids, black kids, brown kids, kids that look like my little cousins, smiling, like someone finally told them, "You belong here." And I'm sitting in the back seat thinking, they're going to bury that man alive. Not kill him first. Bury him as if he's already dead. For money. So no, I didn't call 911. I called a lawyer. Not my lawyer. I don't have a lawyer. His lawyer. His friend. Gregory Miles. Civil rights attorney. Big name in the city, the kind of man people either respect or fear, depending on which side of the law they're standing on. I saw his name in one of those articles about Luke and thought if anybody's going to pick up the phone for me, it's going to be the man whose face is in pictures standing next to him. I told the driver, Miles and Fox Legal Financial District, and when I say I must have looked insane walking into that glass tower at 5 in the morning, hoodie, bloody hair, wild, limping, no shoes, I mean security literally reached for the phone the second I pushed the door open. The receptionist tried to tell me, "We don't open until 8, and I leaned on the counter and said, "Listen to me very carefully. They're about to bury Luke Harland alive, and if you don't put me in front of Gregory Miles in the next 5 minutes, you can tell the news you turned away the only person who could save him." Yeah, I said that. Survival makes you bold. 2 minutes later, I'm upstairs sitting in this office with glass walls and shelves full of law books, shaking so hard I almost slid off the chair. Gregory walks in. Older black man, silver hair, calm eyes, that courtroom energy where you can tell he's not impressed by anybody anymore. He doesn't ask who I am first. He looks at the blood soaking through my hoodie and goes, "You're bleeding. Sit still." He tapes my incision himself with steady hands, like he's done this for clients before, then says very calm, "Start from the beginning." And so I did. I told him everything. The voices in the air vent, the line about declaring him brain dead, the part about no autopsy, the gunshot, the chase, the laundry room, the text message saying, "Stay quiet if you want to live." I dumped it all out, over-talking, crying, angry, scared, embarrassed, shaking, and when I was done, I waited for the look. You know the look. The "Oh, sweetheart, you're confused, it's the meds, go lie down." That look. Gregory didn't give me that look. He leaned back, folded his arms, and said, Luke's half-brother is Tristan. Luke called me 3 days ago and said he was about to cut Tristan out of the company and rewrite the ownership structure. Before he could sign, he collapsed. He rubbed his jaw. I thought it was stress. Now I don't. And just like that, everything snapped into focus. This wasn't random. This wasn't some wild movie plot. This was a hostile takeover from inside the family. Here's where it goes from scary to surgical. Gregory calls a toxicology contact at Stanford, this brilliant guy named Boone, and has him pull Luke's medical file. There's this compound listed HN12 something I'd never heard of, and Boone goes quiet for a second, then says, "That's not a standard medication. That's experimental. It shuts down visible neural activity and mimics full brain death while the patient is still alive and aware. It was used in old military research to fake death." You want to know what cold feels like? Cold is hearing a doctor basically say they chemically froze him so they could bury him without anyone asking questions. And while I'm trying not to pass out, Gregory is already moving. Tristan had arranged a private memorial for Luke. Closed casket, immediate burial, no autopsy, per family request, within 48 hours. You hearing me? 48 hours. Not next week, not next month. They were literally about to put him in the ground while he was still technically alive so they could file paperwork and take over the company. Gregory says, "Do you trust me?" And I said yes, because at that point, what else was I supposed to say? And in under 2 hours, he's got an emergency injunction from a judge to stop the burial. He's got a federal marshal lined up, and he's packing me in a black SUV, headed to a private family mortuary in Napa Valley, where Luke's body is being prepared. Stick around, because what happened next will blow your mind. We get there late at night. The place looks like money and secrets. Marble floors, soft organ music in the background, closed doors, lilies in every hallway. The mortuary director tells us, "We're closed," and the marshal just hands him the judge's order like "try again." They take us into a viewing room with soft lighting and one casket in the middle already sealed. I don't mean closed, I mean sealed. They welded it shut like they never planned for it to be opened again. They open it anyway. When the lid came up and I saw Luke for the first time, my breath got stuck in my throat. He looked dead. That's the part that messed me up. Skin, pale lips, a little blue body so still he almost looked wax. My stomach dropped like I was too late, like it was over, like I had failed. Then Dr. Chen, the emergency doctor Gregory brought with us, leaned in, pressed 2 fingers to Luke's neck and whispered, "Wait, there. Pulse. Faint but present. He's alive." I swear to you, my knees almost gave out. Think about that. A man the entire world believed was on his deathbed, a billionaire, is lying motionless in a casket, chemically paralyzed, minutes away from being buried with dignity. And the only reason he's not under dirt is because a broke girl with fresh stitches happened to hear the wrong thing through the right vent. Chen pulls out this vial pale blue liquid and says, "First dose. It'll slow the compound down, keep his brain activity from dropping off completely." He injects it into the IV line, and we all just stand there in this funeral home in the middle of the night, holding our breath. I watched Luke's chest move just a little like a shallow drag of air. His fingers twitched. I covered my mouth with both hands and cried, not pretty movie crying, just shaking and leaking, because everything hit me at once. He was alive. We were not crazy. They really tried to bury a living man for control of a company, and in that moment something inside me changed. I stopped being scared the same way. I was still in danger, but I wasn't confused anymore. I knew what the truth was, and once you know the truth, silence becomes a choice. After that, things lit up fast. Gregory moved me into protective housing, locked down the evidence, and sat me down in front of a camera. No makeup, hoodie, bandage still taped across my stomach, still visibly exhausted. He said, "Maya, I'm going to ask you this once. Are you willing to go public?" And I said, "I'm not a hero, I'm just the one who heard it." He said, "That's exactly why they'll believe you." So we filmed. I looked into the lens and told the world they were going to bury him alive. I heard them. I ran. I bled. I'm not lying. That clip went everywhere. News, social talk, shows, you name it. Half the internet called me a hero. The other half called me a liar. Tristan's team tried to smear me, leaked hospital footage of me running barefoot and bleeding, tried to paint me as unstable, said I was confused and dramatic and wanted attention. Let me ask you something, and you answer this in the comments right now. Do you think that's fair, that the first move from people with money is always to say the poor black woman is crazy? But now here's the twist that turned the whole country upside down. Tristan the brother threw this big memorial gala. Black suits, expensive wine, candlelight. A giant slideshow about Luke's legacy and carrying his dream forward. Total performance. His plan was obvious. Play the grieving brother, step into power, make himself look noble. He's up there at the podium telling the world, "My brother was a great man, I will honor him." Cameras rolling, investors nodding, and then the big screen behind him glitches, static, flicker, cut, and suddenly, in front of everyone live, is Luke. Alive. On the screen. In a hospital bed. Pale, hooked to oxygen but awake. Breathing. Looking straight into the camera with those cold, gray eyes. The whole room gasps like someone punched the air out of them. Tristan turns around, and his face goes white. And Luke, slow, steady, controlled, says, "Good evening. I wasn't planning on making an appearance tonight, but I heard my brother was about to give a eulogy for someone who isn't dead." You could hear silverware hit plates. You could hear reporters scrambling for their phones. You could hear careers ending in real time. Luke looks right into that camera and says, "I wasn't sick. I was poisoned. I wasn't peaceful. I was paralyzed by a compound designed to mimic brain death. I was placed in a sealed casket while I was still alive, and the person who benefits from my burial is standing on that stage right now." And Tristan, still trying to smile through it, still doing that fake, calm voice, goes, "Brother, you're confused. You've clearly been through trauma." And Luke just hits him with, "I remember your voice, Tristan. You said he won't feel a thing." Silence. Over. Done. That was the moment Tristan stopped being a grieving brother and started being a suspect on live television. After that, federal marshals moved. Gregory got me under official protection. Tristan tried to run. Of course he ran. But they found him in some dusty hideout near the Arizona border and took him in. And then came the trial. United States versus Tristan Harland. Every news camera in the country parked outside that courthouse like it was the Super Bowl. I had to testify. I had to get up there under oath in front of federal prosecutors and defense lawyers who get paid more in a week than I make in 6 months, and tell them what I heard through that vent. I told them I heard Tristan and a doctor planning to declare Luke brain dead. I heard them say no autopsy, private burial. I heard a gunshot. I ran down 2 flights of stairs while bleeding through my own stitches because if I didn't, Luke would be underground right now and you'd be calling it natural causes. The defense tried to break me, tried to call me unstable, tried to bring up the fact that I had once gone to counseling for stress and insomnia like that. Somehow meant I hallucinated a murder plot. I looked right at that lawyer and said, "Yeah, I went to counseling because working 12-hour days while rich men treat you like you're invisible will mess you up. You should try it sometime." Even the judge had to pause for a second. Then Luke testified. He walked with a cane, still not at full strength, but standing, and he said something I will never forget. He said, "My brother tried to bury me alive to take control of my company, and the only reason I'm breathing is because a woman most of you would have walked past without seeing, refused to be silent. She didn't just save my life. She gave me a reason to live it differently." I cried. I'm not ashamed to say I cried. Because most of us go our whole lives without anyone powerful ever saying on record, "She mattered." The jury found Tristan guilty. Attempted murder, fraud, conspiracy, witness intimidation, all of it. The judge gave him 35 years in federal prison, no parole for the first 25. And I'm not gonna lie. When I saw him in cuffs, head down, no more tailored suit, I felt something I don't think there's even a clean word for. Relief, anger, closure, rage, healing, all mixed together. And I know we're supposed to end the story. There, roll credits, hero shot music, swells, justice served. But real life doesn't end that neat. Real life keeps going the next day. Real life asks you, so what now? Here's the truth. After the trial, after the sentence, after the headlines, I did not go back to being invisible. People started calling me. People started finding me. Not reporters, not rich folks, regular people. Maids, nurses, factory workers, drivers, young girls working night shifts. People who had seen something and were scared to talk. People saying, "They told me if I opened my mouth I'd lose everything, but I saw what you did, and I think maybe I can do it too." You know what that feels like. It's heavy, but it's holy. So me and Luke did something. We built the Harland Williams Foundation. Not to fix his image, not to polish the company, not to make anybody feel better about being rich. We built it to protect people like me. Real people who witness ugly things powerful people do and get punished for speaking. We pay for lawyers. We move people to safety. We get evidence on record before it disappears. We shine lights in dark rooms. Because here's what I learned the hard way. Power doesn't always kill you with a bullet. Sometimes it buries you with silence, buries you with paperwork, buries you under words like unstable and dramatic and acting out. Sometimes burying you alive just means telling the world you don't matter. And if I hadn't run that night, if I had been 1 inch slower, that is exactly what would have happened to Luke. He would have been in the ground, and you would have watched his brother on TV crying fake tears about tragic complications. Yeah, that almost happened. So I want to leave you with this, and I want you to answer in the comments because I am actually asking you. Do you think justice really works? Or did justice only work this time because I bled for it first? Do you believe the system protected us? Or do you believe the system got caught on camera and had no choice? And if you were in that hospital room at 2:38 a.m., Stitch's fresh legs shaking, and you heard men whisper through the air vent that they were going to bury a living man for money, would you have run? Or would you have stayed quiet and hoped somebody else would handle it? Tell me what you would have done. Tell me if you think Tristan's sentence was fair. Tell me where you're watching from and what time it is right now. And if you've ever had to choose between staying safe and telling the truth, I want to hear that too, because I promise you, you're not the only one.